I welcome you to this video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to place windows in Revit. But before we place windows, I would like to show you how to model window first. And this is what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we learned how to design and plan the spaces inside our building. And of course, you know that it is a space inside your building that determines what you see outside. Okay, before we place our windows, let's open our case study. This is the building we are using for this tutorial. So I want us to model this type of window. So that you too can learn and be in charge. You'll be able to model any kind of window of your choice. Okay, without wasting your time, let's get started with modeling of window family. The first thing you are going to do is to click on this application menu, and you see new. You will see a small arrow here. Click on that small arrow, then you move towards family, click on it, and you should be able to see all these files. If you do not see any of this file, it means your Revit did not load well during installation. And what I will recommend for you is to contact me so that I will send you this folder so that you will be able to load it into your system and have it handy. Okay, with that out of the way, let's see how we can create a new window family. And if you go through all these, you see window here. This is where we are going to start from. You select it and click open. And here it is. If I click on 3D, this is what we have. The first thing I want to do is to save it. Click on File, click on Application menu, Save As, select Family, and select our folder. This is our folder, and this is the one I used some time ago. Let's give it the same name. So I want to replace it. Select option, that is the backup. Reduce the backup to 1 and click OK. Then give it the name you want to save it with. This name is okay. Then let's save it. I want to replace the existing one. Okay, so this is what we have. Now at this point, you can start customizing your window. If for instance you want to have an arc, zoom to fit. Okay, I cannot see it. Okay, now assuming you want to have an arc, in that case you are going to, this is an opening, you are going to make this opening to be an arc here. But for this window, we are not creating an arc. We want to make a simple rectangular window. And if you see the height, it's given in inches. I don't want it to be in inches. I want it to be in millimeter. So what I would do is to change the unit. And I'm going to go to Manage tab. You see Manage here. Click on it. Then look for Project Unit. This project unit. Click on it. Then look for length. Change the length to millimeter. You can see millimeter here. Okay, and click the decimal places. I love it 0 place. Okay, then okay, everything okay. All right, we have changed it to millimeter now. I've changed it to millimeter, and the first thing I can create, I would love to create my glass. You can start from anywhere. You can create your glass first. You can create your mullion, whatever you want to create first. Okay, so let me create my glass, and in creating the glass, I'm going to click on create, then select extrusion and pick rectangle and simply draw, and select align. Click on this reference plane and align it, lock it. Click on the next reference plane, align it, lock it, and click on this one, align it, lock it. Click on this, align and lock. Now change the material to something that look like glass. This is glass, okay, and click OK. Then the depth, the extrusion end is the thickness of the glass. 25 mm will be okay, and click apply. And let's finish it and see. Let's see it in 3D. That is that. Let's change it to shaded. Oh, let's change it to shaded. You can see this is our glass. Okay, this is our glass. Beautiful. Okay. All right, let's load it into a project and see whether it is going to work for us. Let's select this project and let's override the existing one. And that window is not active. Okay, let me select window. My shortcut for window is WN, and let's save this project and place the window. Okay, that is that. It is working, and let's select it and let's increase the size and see whether it's going to adapt to the new size without breaking, because we locked it before. The reason we lock it is so that we'll be able to modify the sizes. Okay, you can see it is working perfectly. Everything is working perfectly. Okay, so we go back to our model. We'll go back to our Revit family, and I want to close any hidden window. This is where I close hidden window. Okay, if you don't see this, there are other ways you can close a hidden window. You can use shortcut. As I'm hovering it now, you see shortcut as CL. Okay, or other ways you can do is to go to view, then go to user interface, click on this drop down, then sorry, other ways you can do is go to view and you see close hidden window, close hidden. If there is any window that is hidden, you'll be able to close it here. Okay, let's go to our window family. This is the window family we are working on, and I would like to go to the section so that I move the glass from the center of the wall. Okay, we don't have section here, so let me create a section view. And let's go to the view. Okay, and I cannot identify where the exterior is. Let me go to elevation so that I'll be able to identify the exterior. Okay, this is the exterior. Then I am going to select this glass I've just created. It's okay, I've selected it now, so I'm going to drag it out. I want it to be on the surface of the wall. I want it to look like curtain wall. This is the way curtain wall is done. It's always on the surface. The glass is on the surface. Okay, the glass is not at the center of the wall for curtain wall type. Okay, so I want to see the 3D, and that is what we have. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to create the mullion. To create the mullion, I go to exterior. And I select create, select extrusion. But before then, I need a reference plane so that I'll be able to lock it to those reference plane. And if I am increasing the size and getting different variations, I will not have issues. Okay, to create a reference plane, you can select any of these and create similar, and simply draw and draw and draw. Okay, then we need dimension for this. The kind of mullion I want to create, I want it to be inward. I want it to be inside. I want it to be inside the opening. Okay, then I want to copy this, then place my dimension. The size of the mullion I want to create will be something like 20 mm, and place your dimension 20 mm. It's okay, and select your dimension, lock it, select your dimension, lock it, so that anytime you are increasing the window or decreases depending on the type of variation you want to create, your model will not scatter, it will remain intact. Okay, so I make sure I lock it all around 20 mm and lock this as well. Right. Okay, now let's start creating our mullion. Now I will select create, select extrusion, and pick, let's draw a rectangle. We'll draw through rectangle and select align, pick the reference plane and lock it. Lock it only to reference plane. Don't lock it to model element. Otherwise, you have issue when you start working. You'll be getting errors. So to avoid those errors, make sure you lock it only to reference plane. If you are locking it to reference plane, you are not going to get much error. and well, we are good to go. And for the material, I am going to save it as a different I will rename it and duplicate and rename it as window frame, window frame, and click OK. And the extrusion end and 20. This time around I want it to be something like 150, and click apply, finish it, and let's see it in 3D. Okay, this is it here. Let's work on it a little bit. Let's work on the material so that it will be distinguished from the wall. Let's make it off-white and click OK. We cannot see the mullion proper, and we need to define. Okay, let's see how it goes. Let's go to our section and position it so it will cover to this face. We cannot lock it against the wall. We only need to lock it to reference plane. So we might need a reference plane to be able to lock it there. Let's try and create a reference plane. RP, that is the shortcut for reference plane. And I can also create similar. My shortcut for create similar is CS. And I can drag this one here and lock it. Then this one to here will be something like, let's type 200 and see. 200 is too much. Let's type 120. Let's type 120. Okay, that's 120. And let's lock this and let's constrain this one to this reference plane, and that is that. So we have our mullion there. Okay, then the next thing we want to create, let's see our case study. Let's see our case study. The next thing I want to create is this window hood. I want to create this window hood. To create those window hood, we go back to our family where we were before and select it, and we may need some reference plane to work with. So I'm going to create another set of reference plane, and up and down, and here we are going to determine the width of our window hood. The width of our window hood, 120 is not bad, and you are going to lock it. Then also determine the width of this to be 120 and constrain it. Okay, then place another reference plane, RP for reference plane, so that it will be an extension. Okay, I place dimension. By the way, my shortcut for dimension is DS. You still remember, okay? 120 is the projection, and I'm going to lock that. Then select dimension again and place it here. Select this reference plane, change the dimension to 120 and press enter. Then constrain this dimension. Okay, now let's create our mullion now. To create a mullion, let's create our window hood now. To create window hood, you simply go to create, select extrusion and select a rectangle and draw within this rectangle and pick a line, align to this reference plane and lock and constrain it. Align it to this reference plane and constrain it. Then align it to this reference plane and constrain it. And finally align it to this reference plane and also constrain it. Change the material to something else. Change it to window hood, and make the color more visible by changing it to white or off-white so that it will stand out of the wall. And the extrusion end is 100 will be okay. 100 will be okay. And let's finish it. Let's see it in 3D. Okay, that is that. You can see it in 3D. Okay, we need it to extend beyond the frame. We need it to go beyond the frame and something like this. And in that case, we can place a dimension or a reference plane. Let's use a reference plane. Let's use another reference plane and let's place a dimension here. And if this is about 1 inch, that is 25 mm. 25, and press enter. Then constrain it and stretch this one to here and constrain it. Then you can also stretch this to here and constrain it so that it will be intact at any point in time. And we can mirror this so that we have this same one at the lower part of our window, and make sure it's also locked to this reference plane. Select this one and lock it to this reference plane. Then select this, lock it to this reference plane, and select this and lock it to that reference plane. And let's view it in 3D. Okay, beautiful. So we have it up and down now. Before we proceed, let's try and load it into our project to test whether it's working, so that we'll not waste our time creating something that is going to break at the end of the day. Okay, you can see, let's toggle it. Okay, beautiful. It is working. It is working perfectly. Okay, it is working. It's working. All right, let's see whether we can change the size. Let's change the size to the height 1800, then the width to something like 600 mm, whether it is going to break. If it break, then we find our way, we start afresh. If it does not break, we continue. Okay, I think it's perfect. Very, very perfect. Okay, then the next thing we want to create is those small antique design, those small antique design that are under it. So we go to our window family again and select it and go to exterior. Okay, now we want those antique design to be somewhere here and somewhere here. So I'm going to pick a reference plane and place it somewhere here and give it a dimension. If the length of the antique design is 200, it's not bad. Let's lock it, and we need another reference plane that would determine the width of the antique design, and we are going to place a dimension to the reference plane. And if the width of the antique design is 100, it's not bad, and place a dimension here. Place a dimension. I'm sure you know where I'm picking my dimension from. I am using a shortcut. That's why I told you that shortcut is very, very important. Okay, so I'm going to lock this and start our design proper. Let's go to section and see. Let's go to this section, and this is the exterior of our window, and this is where we want to have the antique design, somewhere here. Okay, if you look at those antique design, the approach to it is to use extrusion, and the extrusion will be from this section. So I pick extrusion, create, select extrusion, and it's asking me to pick a plane, and obviously there's no plane to be picked here. I don't have any plane to pick. Okay, I can pick this. I can pick this plane. Can you see as it is being highlighted? Can you see it? I'm sure you have seen it. Okay, I picked that plane, and let's start designing our antique design. And the first thing we'll do is just draw a rectangle, just a normal rectangle, and lock it to all this reference plane. Lock it to all this reference plane and change the material to be to have the same material as window hold is okay. And let's finish it. Now let's go to our exterior and make sure you lock it to this reference plane, and also lock this one to this reference plane, and let's view it in 3D. Okay, you can see it now. Just simple rectangular. Okay, now let's see whether we can modify it a little bit so that we can make it curve, and that will take us to edit that. It will take us to any of this view, like section 1 or right elevation. Any of this view will be okay. Okay, now this is where we want to apply curves. This is where we want to apply curve to it, and can make something like this. Can create some. Let me use a rectangle. Let me use a line, a simple line, and we are going, and whatever design you want to create is up to you. Any design you want is up to you. Let's try this, whether it is going to work. If it does not work, then we go back and let's remove this, and let's finish it and see. And let's see it on elevation. I think the design is okay, and let's see how it is going to look in our project. Let's load it into our project and see how it is going to look like. Okay, you can see it is buried inside the wall. It is buried inside the wall, and I don't like it like that. And in that case, I want to modify it. So to do that, I want to go to my section. Let's go to my section and try and bring it out. I want to try and bring it out a little bit so that it will come out of the wall, and we can use our arrow to move it out. Okay, this position I think is not bad, and let's load it into the projects again and see how it is going to look like in our live project. Okay, let's see it on from the side and see how it look like. It's still buried. It's still buried. It's not looking the way I want it to look. So I'll still go to the left elevation, and let's try and move this out a little bit. Let's change this one to something like, let's change it to something like 50. Let's make it 50. No, undo. Let me delete this. Okay. Okay, this is the one that is controlling our, this is the reference plane that is controlling our window hood. So I want to make this to be 50 and see how it is going to be. Okay, then lock it. Okay, then I can now edit this and move it out a little bit. Move it out, and if I like, I can constrain this point to this reference plane so that that point will always stay on that reference plane. And let's finish it. Let's load it into the live project again and see how it is going to look like. Override the existing one. Okay, you can see it has come out now. Yes, this is beautiful. This is better. Okay, but this edge is looking too sharp. It's looking too sharp. So I need to blunt it and go to one of the view, edit, select arc and blunt this edge and use a trim to trim it. Here we go and finish it. Let's see how it is. It should be better now. Override the existing one. Oh yes, this is better. Okay, now let's go back and create the second one. Let's create the second one. This is it. Yeah, all we need to do is to mirror it. Mirror it, picking the center, mirror it. Then after mirror it, we are going to constrain it to all this reference plane, because once you mirror it, the copy you have has lost its constraint. So we are going to select it, edit it, go to left and constrain all these to here and this to here and this to this reference plane and this particular point to this reference plane, and let's finish it and let's see it on 3D. Let's save our work. Yes, correct. Everything is working perfectly, and let's see how we can load it into our project. And here we go. We override the existing one. Now we have the second one. Okay, now that we have the second one, let's assume we change the size of this window. Is our model going to scatter? Let's see. 1200 mm. Click apply, click OK. You can see everything is working fine. If I want to reduce it to something like a toilet window now, I reduce the height to something like 600 mm by 600 mm. What are we going to have? Is it going to break? Correct. Everything is working perfectly. Okay, so that is how you can create your window family from scratch. And I hope you learned something from this video. And if you do, make sure you give me feedback, and preferably I want the feedback to be in a video format. I will highly appreciate that. So this window, you can change it to any size. It can be a horizontal window, it can be vertical window, any size you want. In the next video, we'll see how we can place. Okay, let's try and place this window on our project, and the height can remain as 1800 and the width will be something like 900. And let's click apply. Let's make the name, let's rename it to 900 by 1800 mm window. Click OK, and that is the size. Click OK. In the next video, we are going to place all our windows in this project. Alright, see you in the next video. Bye.